City of Dreadful Night by James Thompson. Read by Terence Craig. Part 4. Our isolated units could be brought to act together for some common end. For one by one, each silent with his thought, I marked a long loose line approach and wend athwart the great cathedral's cloistered square, and slowly vanish from the moonlit air. Then I would follow in among the last, and in the porch a shrouded figure stood, who challenged each one, pausing ere he passed, with deep eyes burning through a blank white hood. Whence come you in the world of life and light, to this our city of tremendous night? From pleading in a senate of rich lords, for some scant justice to our countless hordes, who toil half-starved with scarce a human right, I wake from daydreams to this real night. From wandering through many a solemn scene of opium visions, with a heart serene and intellect miraculously bright, I wake from daydreams to this real night. From making hundreds laugh and roar with glee by my transcendent feats of mimicry, and humour wanton as an elvish sprite, I wake from daydreams to this real night. From prayer and fasting in a lonely cell, which brought an ecstasy ineffable of love and adoration and delight, I wake from daydreams to this real night. From ruling on a splendid kingly throne, a nation which beneath my rule has grown, year after year, in wealth and arts and might, I wake from daydreams to this real night. From preaching to an audience fired with faith, the Lamb who died to save our souls from death, whose blood hath washed our scarlet skins wool white, I wake from daydreams to this real night. From drinking fiery poison in a den, crowded with tawdry girls and squalid men, who hoarsely laugh and curse and brawl and fight, I wake from daydreams to this real night. From picturing with all beauty and all grace, first Eden and the parents of our race, a luminous rapture unto all men's sight, I wake from daydreams to this real night. From writing a great work with patient plan, to justify the ways of God to man, and show how ill must fade and perish quite, I wake from daydreams to this real night. From desperate fighting with a little band against the powerful tyrants of our land, to free our brethren in their own despite, I wake from daydreams to this real night. Thus challenged by that warder sad and stern, each one responded with his countersign, then entered the cathedral, and in turn I entered also, having given mine, but lingered near until I heard no more, and marked the closing of the massive door. 13. Of all things human which are strange and wild, this is perchance the wildest and most strange, and showeth man most utterly beguiled, to those who haunt that sunless city's range, that he bemoans himself for aye, repeating how time is deadly swift, how life is fleeting, how naught is constant on the earth but change. The hours are heavy on him and the days, the burden of the months he scarce can bear, and often in his secret soul he prays to sleep through barren periods unaware, arousing at some longed-for date of pleasure, which, having passed and yielded him small treasure, he would outsleep another term of care. Yet in his marvellous fancy he must make quick wings for time, and see it fly from us. This time which crawleth like a monstrous snake, wounded and slow, and very venomous, which creeps blind worm-like round the earth and ocean, distilling poison at each painful motion, and seems condemned to circle ever thus. And since he cannot spend and use aright the little time here given him in trust, but wasteth it in weary undelight of foolish toil and trouble, strife and lust, he naturally claimeth to inherit the everlasting future, that his merit may have full scope, surely is most just. O length of the intolerable hours, O nights that are as aeons of slow pain, O time too ample for our vital powers, O life whose woeful vanities remain immutable for all of all our legions, through all the centuries and all the regions, not of your speed and variance we complain. We do not ask a longer term of strife, weakness and weariness and nameless woes. We do not claim renewed and endless life, when this which is our torment here shall close, and everlasting conscious inanition. We yearn for speedy death in full fruition, dateless oblivion and divine repose. (14) Large glooms were gathered in the mighty fane, with tinted moongleams slanting here and there, and all was hush, no swelling organ strain, no chant, no voice or murmuring of prayer. No priests came forth, no tinkling censers fumed, and the high altar space was unillumed. Around the pillars and against the walls leaned men in shadows. Others seemed to brood, bent or recumbent in secluded stalls. Perchance they were not a great multitude, save in that city of so lonely streets, where one might count up every face he meets. All patiently awaited the event, without a stir or sound, as if no less self-occupied, doom-stricken while attent. And then we heard a voice of solemn stress from the dark pulpit, and our gaze there met two eyes which burned as never eyes burned yet. Two steadfast and intolerable eyes, burning beneath a broad and rugged brow, the head behind it of enormous size, and as black fir groves in a large wind bow, our rooted congregation, gloom arrayed, by that great sad voice deep and full were swayed. O melancholy brothers, dark, 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 O battling in black floods without an ark, O spectral wanderers of unholy night, my soul hath bled for you these sunless years, with bitter blood drops running down like tears. O dark, 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 withdrawn from joy and light. My heart is sick with anguish for your bale. Your woe hath been my anguish. Yea, I quail and perish in your perishing unblessed. And I have searched the heights and depths, the scope of all our universe, with desperate hope to find some solace for your wild unrest. And now at last authentic word I bring, witnessed by every dead and living thing, good tidings of great joy for you, for all. There is no God, no fiend with names divine made us and tortures us. If we must pine, it is to satiate no being's gall. It was the dark delusion of a dream, that living person, conscious and supreme, whom we must curse for cursing us with life, whom we must curse because the life he gave could not be buried in the quiet grave, could not be killed by poison or the knife. This little life is all we must endure. The grave's most holy peace is ever sure. We fall asleep and never wake again. Nothing is of us but the mouldering flesh, whose elements dissolve and merge afresh in earth, air, water, plants, and other men. We finish thus, and all our wretched race shall find within its cycle and give place to other beings with their own time doom. Infinite aeons ere our kind began, infinite aeons after the last man has joined the mammoth in earth's tomb and womb. We bow down to the universal laws, which never had for man a special clause of cruelty or kindness, love or hate. If toads and vultures are obscene to sight, if tigers burn with beauty and with might, is it by favor or by wrath of fate? All substance lives and struggles evermore, through countless shapes continually at war, by countless interactions interknit. If one is born a certain day on earth, all times and forces tended to that birth. Not all the world could change or hinder it. I find no hint throughout the universe of good or ill, of blessing or of curse. I find alone necessity supreme, with infinite mystery abysmal dark, unlighted ever by the faintest spark, for us the flitting shadows of a dream. O brothers of sad lives, they are so brief. A few short years must bring us all relief. Can we not bear these years of labouring breath? But if you would not this poor life fulfill, lo, you are free to end it when you will, without the fear of waking after death. The organ-like vibrations of his voice thrilled through the vaulted aisles and died away. The yearning of the tones which bade rejoice was sad and tender as a requiem lay. Our shadowy congregation rested still, as brooding on that end it when you will. 15. Wherever men are gathered, all the air is charged with human feeling, human thought. Each shout and cry and laugh, each curse and prayer, are into its vibrations surely wrought. Unspoken passion, wordless meditation, are breathed into it with our respiration. It is with our life fraught and overfraught. So that no man there breathes earth's simple breath, as if alone on mountains or wide seas, but nourishes warm life or hastens death, with joys and sorrows, health and foul disease, wisdom and folly, good and evil labours, incessant of his multitudinous neighbours, he in his turn affecting all of these. That city's atmosphere is dark and dense, although not many exiles wander there, with many a potent evil influence, each adding poison to the poisoned air. Infections of unutterable sadness, infections of incalculable madness, infections of incurable despair. Our shadowy congregation rested still, as musing on that message we had heard, and brooding on that end it when you will, perchance awaiting yet some other word, when keen as lightning through a muffled sky sprang forth a shrill and lamentable cry. The man speaks sooth, alas, the man speaks sooth. We have no personal life beyond the grave. There is no God. Faith knows not wrath nor ruth. Can I find here the comfort which I crave? In all eternity I had one chance, one few years' term of gracious human life. The splendors of the intellect's advance, the sweetness of the home with babes and wife, the social pleasures with their genial wit, the fascination of the worlds of art, the glories of the worlds of nature, lit by large imagination's glowing heart, the rapture of mere being, full of health, the careless childhood and the ardent youth, the strenuous manhood winning various wealth, the reverent age serene with life's long truth, all the sublime prerogatives of man, the storied memories of the times of old, the patient tracking of the world's great plan through sequences and changes myriadfold. This chance was never offered me before. For me this infinite past is blank and dumb. This chance recurreth never, nevermore. Blank, blank for me the infinite to come. And this sole chance was frustrate from my birth, a mockery, a delusion, and my breath of noble human life upon this earth so racks me that I sigh for senseless death. My wine of life is poison mixed with gall. My noonday passes in a nightmare dream. I worse than lose the years which are my all. Who can console me for the loss supreme? Speak not of comfort where no comfort is. Speak not at all. Can words make foul things fair? Our life's a cheat, our death a black abyss. Hush and be mute, envisaging despair. This vehement voice came from the northern isle, rapid and shrill to its abrupt harsh close. And none gave answer for a certain while, for words must shrink from these most wordless woes. At last the pulpit speaker simply said, with humid eyes and thoughtful drooping head, "My brother, my poor brothers, it is thus. This life itself holds nothing good for us, but ends soon, and never more can be. And we know nothing of it ere our birth, and shall know nothing when consigned to earth. I ponder these thoughts, and they comfort me. You have been listening to The City of Dreadful Night by James Thompson, read by Terence Craig. Part 4. Part 5 follows on the next and final video.